Welcome back, Initiates. Day 65 Zentra Prime. Our first task is to search for further seeds for Inquisitor Vakir's research into this insidious bloom, with Titan offering extra requisition if we can complete the first without using grenades. The Knights of Titan are a force of pure wrath against the likes of demonkind, and limiting one's power brings great honour to the chapter. The first strike will consist of a mix of classes, allowing us to explore the tactical possibilities and team synergies. We expect to have our first encounter with Plague Marines of the Death Guard.
The Ultramarines appear to have been holding this ground until a recent Death Guard assault.
Curious. I would not have expected Nurgle to use direct force to lay the groundwork for the bloom.
Yes, the Plague Lord's methods are generally more indirect. Perhaps this skirmish held some other purpose.
We will slay them in the Emperor's name. Glory to Xiphos. We have brothers Iolanthus, the Justicar, Hahn the Apothecary, Storm the Interceptor, and Thule the Purgator. This early in the campaign, none of the characters have anything interesting in the way of loadout or skills. There's our first traitor. So I order all the brothers up into range, with the goal of taking out the Chaos Cultists first. Dirty heathens don't deserve to live, and that'll give us time to concentrate on their traitor.
Weapons ready.
So we start the strike by taking advantage of any environmental hazards, dispersing them and destroying the cover. We move Brother Apothecary into a flanking position to finish off these weakened cultists, with the Purgator delivering swift justice from afar. Next we have Storm come in to put melee pressure on the Grenader so he can't pin us down next round. Unable to finish him off, the traitor makes his move. Storm being in light cover, and he takes a glancing blow at this stage.
Die! Die! Die!
Still another glancing blow.
Loaded.
The Grenader tries to make a move, but Storm finishes that idea. And Thule takes a suppressive shot on the traitor to cancel the Overwatch, softening up the armor so Justicar Iolanthus can extract the seed from this scum cultist.
Another seed.
Hahn empties his Storm Bolter into the traitor, causing profuse bleeding. This allows Storm time to teleport in to deliver the Emperor's justice with his two-handed power sword. Traitor down.
Yes, sir.
With that excellent little melee over, we move up into the next position, ready to encounter more scum. Moving to the flank, Brother Purgator takes shots at the flaming brazier and bathes the heretics in pure righteous fire. With a hazard in the zone, Purgator moves up and detects enemies on the flank. Realizing the threat, Brother Purgator is inspired by urges to honor the chapter and moves forward, completely draining his silencer into the heretics. Seizing the opportunity, Storm moves forward with a teleport and takes him down with one swift blow. Dispatching the foe so quickly, he has time to lash out at a nearby enemy. Iolanthus steps forward and finishes off the scum with his Storm Bolter. Yet to act, Apothecary Hahn steps forward and lays down a withering barrage of Storm Bolter fire, causing the cultists to bleed while burning inside their righteous fire. Purgator Thule's cover proves to be ineffective, and he takes a withering barrage of fire from across the battlefield. One of the cultists doused in flames succumbs to his fate, but the other manages to get some shots off on our Apothecary before succumbing to the holy fire. Purged. Nearby enemies seem uninterested by the sounds of combat and move away from the zone. However, the Plague Father has noticed the disturbance and has bestowed foul gifts on the heathens, increasing their resistance and damage that they deal.
Moving swiftly.
In an effort to eradicate these foul gifts from the area, Apothecary Hahn casts Warp Speed Biomancy on Storm. Storm's sword is rippling with the Emperor's energy, cleaving the heathen in two, and extracting the seed in one foul swoop.
Seed exile.
Cover your brothers and my seeds.
With Chaos Warp Rifts opening, there's no time to lose. Storm attempts to finish off the last cultist, but he proves resilient after his mutations, and it's up to Hahn to finish him off.
Yes, sir.
A raucous howl is heard in the next room, with another mob of cultists burst into the room from a nearby archway, yipping and howling with foul abandon, like the scum that they are. With a second group of cultists, led by a foul beast of Nurgle, emerging from a temple to our north.
More of the Plague God's minions.
To add chaos to calamity, the warp portals seethe with energy and explode, spewing forth a wave of cultists and poxwalkers. Storm makes a dash across the plaza in an attempt to stop a flanking maneuver, and Purgator Thul moves up, ready for engagement. Iolanthus takes up Overwatch, and Hahn takes shelter in a nearby drop pod, just as the first wave of poxwalkers make their advance. An explosive lands at the feet of Thul as the cultists make their advance. Fortunately, a Grey Knight's Aegis armor offers an exceptional degree of protection when fully charged. The beast of Nurgle leaps from a nearby ledge and roars, raising the previously slain cultists as poxwalkers. These resurrected corpses are weaker than the standard variant, but just as deadly. The cultists bring heavy weapons to bear and lay down a hail of suppressive fire, while a small contingent of cultists attempt to make a flanking maneuver, successfully hitting Storm. With the suppression having great effect at locking down the knights, Hahn has no choice but to heal himself and continue to endure.
My wrath is restored, brother.
Good to hear. Despite his conviction, he takes a serious hit that manages to penetrate his ceramite armor just as the grenade explodes, the concussive force blowing Thul out of his position and allowing him to be hit by heavy weapons fire. The blasphemous howls of the poxwalkers continue to raise the enemies that we've already slaughtered. With nearby cover destroyed by the explosives, Hahn and Iolanthus must endure through an onslaught of attacks. Hahn manages to hit the beast of Nurgle, but unfortunately, it still gets hits on Justicar Iolanthus. Not to be perturbed, Iolanthus strikes down the next poxwalker and then endures a hail of fire from nearby cultists. Hahn takes an absolute onslaught of fire, which gets through his ceramite armor and causes a critical wound. Fortunately, Space Marine are no normal men, and he will survive as long as we can get him off the planet in time. The Dominus activates the teleporter, and we get the team off planet. Mission complete. While things got messy at the end, the boys pulled through. We managed to extract 2 seeds, as well as complete the mission with the special objective, gaining enough extra requisition to justify bringing in a new knight from Titan, and perhaps buying some new Titan armor. In this case, Terminator armor, spending 1 requisition point to bring in Aegir Alvar from Titan, a rank 3 interceptor, as well as requisition Steadfast, the Terminator armor, which will give us extra resistance to hazards and things like the plague. While a successful mission, due to the amount of damage that we took at the end, 3 out of our 4 knights have a major wound, and Aegir Hahn has a critical wound, which will see him off duty for some time.
You serve the Emperor well, Commander. We should study this seed at once.
Indeed we should. Meanwhile, we have enough time to get to Zypher 3 for another seed carrier mission. This will get us extra requisition and possibly a new Purgator. And we have also unlocked our first stratagem, Quicksilver, which will give one of our knights 2 extra action points once per mission. But I decide the most important thing for us to research, despite needing extra stratagems for later, is to continue research into the Poxwalker while we travel. Time flies when one is in the Liberus studying away, and before I knew it, we arrived at Zypher 3. Hector informed me that we had access to an extra prognosticator, so I decided to deploy one in a nearby system. This reduces the corruption and gives us access to stratagems in nearby sectors. This mission calls for us to collect seeds and also finish it before taking 20 damage. Despite taking so much damage in the last mission, I'm confident that we can successfully complete this deed. With most of the veterans from our previous missions laid out with injuries, it's time to try and diversify the roster. Welcoming Aegir Alva and Mithric Boars, who's been with us for a while but hasn't seen much action. This level 3 interceptor already has experience and therefore has some of his skills pre-allocated. Not happy to send a wounded knight on a mission this early in the campaign, I decide to recruit yet another, as I have the requisition to spare. This time we get a level 2 Purgator in the form of Kendron Zabas. I'm going to specialize him in Astral Aim, which lets us critical hit specific body parts and remove them. This can be useful when you really want to nail down someone that's strong. So far I haven't been totally impressed with the performance of the Purgators, and I may experiment with their loadouts at a later stage. They do have some interesting skills, but I'm not yet sure how that'll play out against later enemies. Using the extra skill points to unlock armor piercing and extra critical damage. Because after fighting those Plague Marines in the last mission, when there's one traitor, there are more to follow. This time I'll give him the Psi Cannon, which has a shorter range than the Silencer, but does more damage. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. So with the team assembled, I decide to send Justicar Iolanthus, as he is our most experienced veteran, and I am confident that he will look after the brothers. See you planetside.
Destination located. The Court of the Seven Miseries has been spotted within this war zone.
Nurgle's minions clearly seek out places where death and decay are most rampant.
More fuel for the fire of the bloom. We must stop the seeds from taking root here.
So it seems that we're porting into an active war zone. Fortunately, the Knights of Titan are used to surgical strikes and are rarely seen by the likes of others in the Imperium. Those that have seen the Knights of Titan generally don't live to tell about it, as the Inquisitors like to purge planets that have any contact with the Grey Knights. An action that we may need to take in the future, and not one that should be taken lightly. So the brothers advance towards the nearest bloom signal, only to discover another traitor amongst some cultists. Clearly, there is some foul things afoot on this planet. With Alva's halberd attempting to do something about the filth.
Moving now.
In typical newbie fashion, we let them finish off the first of the chap. With Alvo being impressively effective at trimming Nurgle's garden and his forces. Every knight has a unique talent, and Justicar Boer's talent is extra range on the Stormbolter, the brand new Purgator Zabas, proving that the Psi Cannon can be an effective weapon. Despite losing a limb, the Plague Marine lashes out with his foul blade and disrupts Alva's next moves.
Again! Again!
The traitor's heretical screams proving that Nurgle's warriors are resilient. Zabaz opens up with a brutal volley from the Psi Cannon, but its low ammo count proves to be a hindrance. and Alvar has to finish off the traitor.
Emperor, guide my
Alvar's zeal for spreading the Emperor's light nearly exposes the team to another enemy pod, and he spends considerable time trying to decide where to hit our heathen friend. Ironlanthus sends out his servo skull to put some healing on Alvar after the damage that he took, and attempts to finish off the cultist before the next round. Auspex reading detected a surge of bloom energy nearby, and I sent Boers in his Terminator armor to check it out, with the remaining brothers to take up a holding position while Boers is on his short side quest.
Aye, sir. The Emperor protects. Moving swiftly.
The Plague Father is a devious one, and he casts a curse on our team, lowering their maximum hit points by 1 for the rest of the mission. Despite this, Boers extracts the seed from a local bloom spore, but the Overwatch team attract the attention of a squad of traitors, possibly our most difficult fight to this moment. Not wanting to engage in a 3v3 fight with traitor Astartes, we throw out a frag grenade to push them back and retreat a little bit. Unperturbed by the frag grenade, the Astartes make their way forward, regenerating their armor as they go. Not wanting to take them on in a direct firefight, I pull the team back, only to run into a second group, consisting of Poxwalkers and a 4th traitor. Caught off guard and low on action points, I set up an Overwatch position, as this seems to be the best way to deal with Poxwalkers.
At once, Commander.
I give orders for Boers to head back as fast as he can. Once the Overwatch is set up, all we can do is wait. Alvar takes minor hits from the traitor, just as the Poxwalker surge 4th. Unfortunately for everyone we take down, they seem to raise another. Such is the filth of Nurgle. With Alvar continuing to stand as a beacon of the Emperor's strength, Boers arrives to help the situation, throwing a grenade right into the mix, breaking the cultists out of their Overwatch. Alvar shadow steps through and attempts to take down the traitor, only barely getting through his armor. Meanwhile, Zabez's weapon is empty, and they still have Poxwalkers to contend to. Fortunately, the Psy Cannon has an area attack, but it uses all its ammunition. Ironlanthus cleans up and moves forward, attempting to push back the traitor. Alvar gets a quick retaliatory strike. The Plague Marine shrugs this off and seems to regain health.
Pain is beneath me.
With little time to waste, it's time to finish off the wounded Astartes before his brothers get here. So the whole team retreats at the cost of taking hits to finish him off.
It will be done.
The Grey Knights are much faster than the Plague Marines, and so mobility is your strength. Nurgle's minions do love a fight.
My armor remains a fortress.
Advance with enduring!
Leaving Zabaz the Purgator in a rearguard position to watch the advance of his traitorous Astartes.
With alacrity. I am his will.
The sheer amount of damage that this traitor has taken has stunned him, and there's a moment of opportunity for us to finish him in the best of ways. Purged. With the lone Plague Marine dealt with, it's time to get back to the front and deal with this pestilent trio. The best way I found is fire, and fire comes from barrels. The blast throws one of the Astartes into a nearby container and separates him from his brothers. Zabaz barrels headfirst down the corridor and lunges into a vicious tackle.
Moving now.
The traders attempt to press forward, but the burning fire and smoke limits their ability to inflict damage. And for now, our team is relatively safe. In an attempt to get back to his brothers, the injured Astartes runs into the fire, with Zabaz repositioning and rejoining his Grey Knight brothers. In their frenzy to get to the Grey Knights, the Plague Marines push through the fire, causing extensive damage to themselves.
Not even a
Their fervor will be their downfall. The frustration is evident in their curses. Zabaz uses his astral aim ability to eviscerate the weapon arm of one of the Plague Marines, leaving him vulnerable to further ranged attacks. With the low ammo count being a huge disadvantage in this situation. Before the Plague Marine can come to his senses, Boaz barrels down the hallway and hits him with a mighty blow from his demon hammer, completely destroying the Plague Marine and knocking his head from his shoulders. Injured Knight Alvaro moves up to take Overwatch position and assist Boaz in pushing back the traitor Astartes. Somewhat startled by the shocking death of their brother and the imposing sight of the Terminator army, they retreat and try to open fire on Boaz, screaming in pain from the agonizing burns that are inflicted upon their flesh. Seeing the Plague Marine's reluctance to die, Zabaz moves forward with another volley from his Psy Cannon, managing to stun the lead Astartes. Seizing the opportunity, Iolanthus makes a mad dash and impales the traitor on his halberd, smashing him into a million pieces. This evisceration inspires Boaz to charge forth despite a hail of gunfire and smash the final Marine with his demon hammer, crushing his faceplate and stunning him. And with a final mighty swing, the Heresy is gone. After confirming that the area is clear, the team moves into what appears to be a fuel refinery, where they discover another wave of poxwalkers and cultists. Despite taking wounds, Alvaro proves that he's quite the go-getter by launching a giant manhole cover into the crowd, pushing them back and killing one.
It will be done. But once.
Not to be outdone on his first mission, Brother Zabaz asks for permission to let loose, to which Justicar Boaz says that's alright.
At once.
Despite his love for the halberd, Iolanthus also gives his approval for ranged carnage. Successfully trimming the crop of 3 poxwalkers, but as is a beast of Nurgle's wont, he just resurrects them again. In the blink of an eye, one poxwalker sprints down the path and manages to land a hit on Zabaz.
Eat this!
A cultist makes a huge mistake when he gets within striking range of Iolanthus' halberd, relieving him of his weapon and then his life. Alvar, seeing Iolanthus' grace with the halberd, emulates his moves and his kill. Boaz sprints straight at the beast of Nurgle and lands a devastating blow. The blow is so devastating, it causes an instability in the beast of Nurgle, which explodes, showering the area in pox and other foul remnants. This instability must have been caused by the seed held within the beast, as the moment it explodes, foul, pulsating warp rifts open all around the field, once again spewing forth cultists and other foul beasts such as poxwalkers and beasts of Nurgle. Fortunately in this case, the rift seems to have opened a fair distance away from the team, and so we will be able to fortify and get away. Almost as if sensing my plan, the Plague Father casts Hobbled on Boaz, lowering his action points and his movement range. Fortunately, he has no plans on going anywhere, as he is surrounded by poxwalkers, and he's taking delight in smashing them to pieces. Alvaro is ordered into cover, much to his reluctance, and Iolanthus takes up a cover position. Zabaz, who is also injured, is moved to the back of the field as the poxwalkers surge forth from the rifts, their pus-filled breath spraying noxious fumes all over the battlefield and raising up the corpses of their previously fallen foes. This wave of poxwalkers makes it within range of Zabaz, and so he opens fire with his side cannon, attempting to free up the area around Boers, who mutters litanies to the Emperor and charges up his Aegis shields. His brothers in arms take heed of his prayers and all charge their shields as well. And not a moment after the prayers are finished, forward the Chaos hosts surge. Many of the mindless poxwalkers are too busy spreading their foul filth and raising the undead to actually try and attack the knights. This is a grace of the Emperor. And so our hold down positions seem to be extremely effective, with none of the Chaos hosts being able to do any damage to us, as can be heard by their frustrated screams. And with those final moments, teleportation is activated. And so the second operation for this solar cycle has concluded. In a much better state than our last one, although we did fail the glorious deed by taking too much damage. In this case, there wasn't anything that was very interesting, so we decided not to requisition from Titan. Boers managed to get an upgrade, and so we will upgrade his ability to charge his Aegis shield. All knights have sustained a light wound, which reduces HP by 3. And with combat operations ceased for the day, it is time to head back to our standby position. While on our way, we will convene the ship's council and discuss more about these seeds. See you in the Strategium.
It is clear that these seeds are fragments of some vile artifact, saturated with corruption. Once fused with organic life, they spread rapidly from the host, afflicting whole populations with a deadly plague.
All according to the plague god's desires.
Yes, but what confounds me is how it spreads so quickly between solar systems. I have issued an interdiction order for this sector. Interplanetary travel will be limited. With the Emperor's mercy, it will buy us some time.
Denial. The baleful edict is far too damaged to begin a new campaign.
And yet it must. This bloom is already ripening, evolving fast towards some dire purpose. Would you truly turn your back on the trillions of souls the plague god threatens to devour?
Never. But how do you propose we stop it?
This seed radiates a psychic imprint from what I believe to be some kind of origin. With further research, I will be able to pinpoint that location.
I would rather we simply purge them.
That is the difference between us, Purifier. You are the hammer, but I am the one with the burden to wield it. Destroying it now would silence the only lead we have. If I can prove these seeds all radiate from the same destination, then we can follow that trail and destroy the source of the bloom's power.
Challenge. You said seeds. You deduce much from only one.
You are correct, Tech Priest. I need more. One is not sufficient to prove my theory. Commander, you must send out your knights to harvest more.
You would have us live around the sector with more of this corruption in my hold?
I agree it is far from ideal, Dominus, but if the Inquisitor can locate the source of this corruption, then I advise we comply with her request.
Affirmative.
Excellent. We have no time to waste.